The episode begins 6 months later with Victoria at a presidential election conference, supporting her candidate Singer as his running mate. Outside the conference, the boys are present, and we learn that the current leader of the team is Mother's Milk, not Butcher. They were planning to infiltrate Victoria's room to swap her eye drops with ones laced with a specific acid. This acid is supposed to cause inflammation in Victoria's eyes, rendering her unable to use her superpowers as she needs her eyes to kill her victims. We see Frenchie adding the acid to the eye drops they will plant in Victoria's room and identifying the appropriate cameras throughout the building. Afterward, Butcher, Frenchie, and Kimiko enter the building where the conference is held, accompanied by 2 Secret Service agents. However, according to the plan, Butcher will remain behind to guard the door. Butcher is furious that he has been relegated to guarding doors. Frenchie, Kimiko, and the 2 agents continue their way to Victoria's room. Meanwhile, Homelander goes to meet Victoria, and they pass by Ryan, who is walking with Victoria's daughter Zoe, and leave them alone. We learn from Homelander and Victoria's conversation that there is a lawsuit against Homelander because of the person he killed on the street when he threw a can at Ryan. He tells her that the case is very simple, and he will be easily acquitted because he was acting in self-defense. Later, Butcher, while standing guard, sees Ryan and Zoe, approaches them, and speaks to Ryan privately. Billy Butcher, along with Huey Campbell, tells him, "Homelander is not a good person, and you know it. You saw him when he killed that man on the street." Ryan replies, "The man threw a can at him, and the media is saying he's a pedophile." Butcher responds, "That's all lies. Come with me, and I'll take you to Grace, and you'll never see me again." At that moment, Homelander enters and tells Butcher, "Leave him alone." He said no. Homelander gives Butcher a sharp look and notices the damage done to his brain from the compound V, realizing he will die within 6 months. Homelander says to Ryan, "Come on, let's go, I miss you." Ryan goes with him while Kimiko and Frenchie enter Victoria's room and open her bag. As they are about to switch the eye drops, Zoe enters and sees them. The agents tell her that they are Victoria's personal bodyguards, securing the place from any danger. However, Zoe senses they are lying, uses her powers, and kills the agents. At that moment, Starlight and Mother's Milk witness what happened and move to rescue them, leaving Huey alone in the car. Zoe advances towards Frenchie, attacking him. Zoe proves to be incredibly strong, dislocating Kimiko's arm. Kimiko quickly flies away, escaping with Frenchie. Starlight and Mother's Milk yell at them to jump as there is no other way out. Butcher confronts Victoria. "Your daughter brutally murdered 2 people. How could you let her take the compound V?" Victoria responds, "I did it to protect her, to make her strong. Too bad, I considered you a close friend. I just want you to be okay. You've put yourself in so many dangerous situations." He replies, "I have your files from Red River Orphanage, and I will expose you to everyone, showing how you blew up those people's heads in court." She threatens him, "If you hurt me, I will come for you and all your friends." It seems the optimal solution is a truce, with neither party harming the other. Butcher shows himself and shoots Victoria, but she doesn't die, of course, and stands unharmed. She tells them sarcastically, "You still fail at killing supes." She then leaves to continue the conference with the presidential candidate, Singer. Afterward, Mother's Milk and Butcher go to meet Grace, but she refuses to see Butcher as she hasn't been able to stand him since he decided to take the compound V, and because he was the reason Ryan chose to live with Homelander. Grace only speaks to Mother's Milk, and it becomes clear that she had arranged a deal between the boys and the presidential candidate, Singer, the same candidate Victoria is supporting. While Butcher was waiting outside, he bumped into an old friend from the agency, Joe. Butcher and Joe go way back, haven't seen each other in 11 years. Butcher tells Joe everything that happened and introduces him to Grace. Butcher expresses his frustration to Joe, saying, "I'm about to be reinstated as the leader of the boys, and what bothers me is that Grace is currently focused on killing Victoria for Singer, ignoring the root of all problems, which is Homelander, who killed that man on the street, and people applauded him." Joe responds, "Soldier Boy could have killed him, but you intervened." He then frankly tells Butcher, "I need you on a specific mission to eliminate supes before they eliminate us." Butcher laughs and agrees without hesitation. Homelander sees on TV that Starlight has created a center for her supporters, calling it Starlight House. Starlight speaks on TV about Homelander and Vought, claiming they are not above the law and need to be controlled. Later, the 7 gather, and surprisingly, Black Noir is present even though he's supposed to be dead. It turns out they brought someone else and dressed them as Black Noir because because they couldn't reveal the cause of his death to the public. The rest of the team is there: Homelander, the Deep, and A-Train. Since the team has become significantly smaller, Ashley suggests some superheroes for them to choose from as new members. Homelander remains silent and uninterested, knowing that, in the end, they will choose whomever he chooses. This fact deeply bothers him. He sees them as spineless. Ashley presents a particular hero that everyone rejects. However, Homelander interjects, "I like this Soup's look." Ashley and the Deep immediately change their tune and agree with his choice. Infuriated, Homelander exclaims, "You are all morons!" He feels they are useless as he is the one making all the decisions for the Seven and the company, with no one objecting or challenging him. Meanwhile, Butcher has contacted Victoria and goes to meet her at a remote location. He tells her, "My main goal is to get Ryan away from Homelander. I need you to understand that I found out about the virus that kills Supes, which was being developed at Godolphin University. To make a long story short, the virus was developed in a lab called Jungle Lab. Victoria possesses a large tube of the virus. Butcher wants it, stating, "I know this virus can't kill Homelander, but it's close to evolving and becoming capable of doing so. Since Homelander is the one who made you the vice presidential candidate, he will exploit you forever, and you won't be able to speak up or get rid of him. Therefore, it's in your best interest to get rid of him with me, not to mention that the boys in the agency are after you. You need me on your side." Victoria replies, "I need proof of your good intentions and that you're being honest with me. What I require from you is to bring me the things Huey kept that belonged to me from the orphanage. That's my only condition for giving you samples of the virus." She then departs. Afterward, Homelander reviews pictures of superhero candidates for the team and pauses at a picture of a superheroine named Sage. Homelander dresses casually and goes to her apartment. We learn that Sage possesses sharp intelligence, considered the smartest person in the world. By simply looking at someone, she can tell what they are thinking through their body language and identify their life's troubles. Homelander asks her to look at him and tell him exactly what's bothering him. She says, "It's obvious that you're getting older, your hair is turning grey, so you're dyeing it a lot. It's like your father, Soldier Boy, was going to kill you eventually." Homelander is impressed by her intelligence and asks for her advice on another matter. "After all these years at Vought, I've become the head of the company, but I'm still not satisfied. Non-Supes still control everything, which is strange. What will I leave my son when I die? I don't want to leave him in this savage world controlled by ordinary people." She replies, "These weaklings must remain because they are the ones who will applaud you and chant your name. As for the ordinary people who control everything, the time will come when they will destroy themselves, as happened in many civilizations throughout history. All you have to do is nudge them a little and you'll find them fighting amongst themselves." Homelander is fascinated by her ideas and asks her to join the Seven to be by his side always. Together, they will get rid of those in positions of power and implement her brilliant ideas. Sage agrees and goes to get those three people who were Homelander's fans. Unfortunately, Homelander was being serious. He walks past them and orders their deaths. Black Noir immediately carries out the order, killing one of them. The Deep and A-Train are forced to follow Homelander's orders and kill the rest. None of them understand why Homelander did this. Sage tells them, "Wait here to carry out the rest of Homelander's orders." Mother's Milk sees Homelander leaving the same building. Then comes the day of Homelander's trial for the murder of the man on the street. Homelander's fans, the Homelanders, and Starlight's fans are present in front of the court awaiting the verdict. The court announces Homelander's acquittal to the delight of the Homelanders. However, we see Sage infiltrating Starlight's fans, pretending to be one of them, and then throws her drink on one of them. Starlight watches the news of Homelander's acquittal and feels deeply disheartened. She repeatedly finds herself breaking up fights that erupt here and there. Meanwhile, A-Train receives a message instructing him to take the bodies of the three people and dump them at the scene of the fight in front of the courthouse. Starlight arrives and tries to calm down both sides, but then she sees three people attacking one of the girls from her fan group. Starlight intervenes and pushes them away from her. However, everyone is shocked by the sight of the three dead bodies. People start accusing Starlight's fans of killing them, placing the blame on two of them. The news reports on what happened, accusing two of Starlight's fans of killing the three individuals who were attacking their friend. Later, Butcher imagines Becca by his side, encouraging him to stay on his path and keep Ryan away from Homelander. She tells him, "You promised me you would protect them, but this way, a new Homelander will emerge." He tells her that he's working on eliminating Homelander, but she asks him to find another way other than aligning with Victoria. We see that Butcher has gathered the documents Huey was keeping that belonged to Victoria, but he's not convinced about giving them to her. He wants to act differently, as Becca advised. Later, Huey is sitting with his father in the hospital after he suffered a heart attack. Huey is surprised to see his mother, who had left them when he was a child and lived far away. Huey asks her, "What brought you here?" She tells him that she and his father reconnected 2 years ago and that he gave her power of attorney regarding his health. However, Huey is not happy about her presence and leaves. The boys gather, and for the first time, Butcher tells them that he went to see a doctor after he started taking the Compound V. The doctor told him he had only 1 year left to live. The team members are shocked by this news, as they had no idea he only had 6 months left. Mother's Milk speaks to Butcher privately and tells him, "Pack your things and leave. We don't want you on the team anymore. You've been lying to us and hiding things from us for too long, and we can't take it anymore. You've become a liability to the team." Butcher is shocked by his words. At Vought, they start crafting a fabricated story about Ryan to feed to the public. They say he grew up on a farm with his mother, and one day, Homelander took him to be by his side, and they fight crime together. The marketing executives decide to dress Ryan in a suit similar to his father's and give him the nickname Homelander Boy. Ryan isn't thrilled about it, but doesn't object. Sage is also not impressed with this idea. Sage says the marketing campaign should revolve around Ryan being the first naturally born superhero, not created in a lab. He is one of a kind. We will call him the world's savior, and he should be independent at first, away from the Seven and Vought. Then, at the opportune moment, he will emerge and steal the show. Ashley is annoyed by Sage's interference in her work. Sage hands Ryan the script for his first mission. Ashley goes to speak to Sage in the elevator and tells her, "Stay out of my work." Sage replies, "I am here because Homelander asked me to be here. He trusts me, and it seems I am more useful than you." The Deep enters and asks Ashley to allow him to accompany Ryan on his first crime-fighting mission. Ashley gets angry and tells him, "The one thing that infuriates me the most is stupid people who think they are smart." Then she leaves. Sage tells the Deep, "You shouldn't let her talk to you like that. You're a superhero, and she's just a weak, ordinary person." The Deep agrees and says, "You're right." Next, they begin training Ryan in crime fighting. Homelander sets up a scenario to be executed on a street as far as the eye can see. The idea is for an actor to play a criminal who kidnaps a girl, and Ryan intervenes and saves her. They film the scene inside a studio, with Ryan and Homelander fighting off a group of criminals. After filming the scene, Homelander tells Black Noir to stop talking because he's talking too much, while the real Black Noir never spoke at all. The Deep tells Ashley, "Don't you ever talk to me like that again because I'm a superhero, and you are just an ordinary person." Ashley mocks him as usual, but this time he decides not to stay silent, telling her, "Talk to me with respect or I will kill you." Ashley, scared, leaves. The Deep feels a sense of satisfaction. Meanwhile, Mother's Milk shows the boys pictures of Todd and the other two individuals before they went to the building and were killed by the Seven. After their bodies suddenly appeared in front of the courthouse, the team members analyze the situation and understand that A-Train, due to his super speed, brought the bodies and placed them there without anyone noticing. Mother's Milk tells them that he gathered information about Sage, spied on her phone using agency software, and discovered that she's going to a specific Vought hotel. Mother's Milk decides to go there with Frenchie and Kimiko. They arrive at the hotel, but are surprised to find Butcher already there. It turns out that Butcher has been monitoring Mother's Milk's phone for a while and knew they were coming. Mother's Milk tries to ignore Butcher and leave, but Butcher says, "You're not my leader anymore, and I'm a civilian now, so you have no authority over me." Mother's Milk decides to allow Butcher to accompany them, as he will undoubtedly be useful. They notice a group of people at the hotel who all seem to dislike Starlight, the boys, and Homelander. Later, Frenchie and Kimiko spot Sage heading to a specific location to listen to someone speak. They follow her to the same place. It turns out that the person speaking is a superheroine named Firecracker. She has been one of Starlight's harshest critics and harbors deep resentment towards her. Firecracker comes out and speaks before the crowd, criticizing Starlight and those close to her. The boys closely observe Sage. Shortly after, Sage steps out to talk to Firecracker. Sage tells Firecracker, "I can get you on the Seven." Butcher and Mother's Milk are listening to their conversation through Sage's phone. Sage asks her, "Why are you gathering these people? And why are you talking about your hatred for Starlight?" Firecracker replies, "I gather the miserable people who are homeless and jobless, the black people who face racism every day. I influence them with simple words for my own purposes and thus gain a large audience and support." Sage asks her to come to the Vought building at 9 p.m., then leaves. Butcher tells Mother's Milk, "Since Sage is weak and all she has is her intelligence, why don't we kidnap her and force her to tell us everything we want to know?" But Mother's Milk refuses, saying, "We only observe." Then he grabs Butcher and takes him out of the place. Butcher gets angry and tells him, "You are a terrible leader. We've been sitting here for hours and haven't learned anything. You lack courage and you'll get the boys killed with your fear." Mother's Milk gets angry as well and they argue. Mother's Milk tells Butcher, "I don't want you with us." Later, A-Train goes to the boys' headquarters. He gives Starlight a flash drive containing evidence proving that her fans did not kill the 3 people who were murdered. A-Train tells her, "This flash drive contains the evidence you are looking for." A-Train is trying to do something right, to be a hero in his brother's eyes. Later, the 7 and Ryan go out to carry out the mission they had planned to introduce Ryan to the public. The actor pretends to kidnap the girl, and the Deep and Black Noir stand idly by, as agreed. Ryan arrives to save the day, followed by Homelander, so they both appear before everyone. Ryan was supposed to throw the actor to the ground gently, but he unintentionally throws him into the air with great force, resulting in his death. Everyone on the street was filming what was happening. Because Ryan killed an innocent person, he goes home crying. Homelander assumes he's crying because his popularity hasn't grown, so he tells him, "Don't worry, having me by your side will increase your popularity." But Ryan tells him, "I'm crying because I killed someone who didn't deserve it." Homelander is taken aback and says, "These humans are weak. It's natural for them to die." Ryan says to him, "But isn't our job to save these weak ones?" Homelander replies, "Forget about it. These things happen all the time." Ryan is not happy with Homelander's words and tells him, "I don't want to take your orders anymore." Homelander tells him, "You are ready for something great. Don't waste this opportunity on these people." Then he leaves. In the evening, Mother's Milk takes Frenchie and Kimiko to the Vought Delivery Company headquarters to find out why Sage asked Firecracker to go there. Suddenly, Sage, Firecracker, and a superhuman who can replicate himself, named Splinter, enter and threaten them with weapons. Sage tells Mother's Milk sarcastically, "Did you think I was stupid enough not to know you were spying on me?" Then she addresses Firecracker, saying, "Homelander will be very pleased with you if you kill these people. They've killed many supes." But the boys quickly attack them, and a fight breaks out. The boys try to escape, but they face great difficulty due to Splinter's many copies. Firecracker corners Kimiko and goes live, claiming she's being attacked by American intelligence agents. Then she films the boys clearly. But at that moment, Butcher arrives, attacks her, and knocks her unconscious. Butcher starts attacking Splinter's copies with all his might and violence, but they overpower him and capture him. The boys try to save him and go back to fight Splinter and Firecracker. In the end, they succeed in eliminating all of Splinter's copies, and Firecracker, with the help of Butcher, Starlight presents the evidence she received from A-Train, proving that the 2 suspects are innocent of the triple homicide in front of the courthouse. Indeed, both individuals are released from prison. Starlight's fans cheer for their hero, celebrating their fellow fans' innocence. Another day, Homelander participates in a school's musical performance. Starlight's fans are also present, chanting her name and hurling insults at Homelander. Barely containing his anger, Homelander addresses the audience and criticizes Starlight's supporters, claiming, "These people are against our nation. They want to get rid of superheroes and the 7. He then adds, "Speaking of the 7, I want you to welcome the newest members, Sage and Firecracker. That brings us to 6 members. As for the 7th member, I will leave this spot for my son." In reality, Homelander isn't entirely convinced about Firecracker, but he agrees to add her to the team because Sage wants her. Sage told him, "Firecracker will make Starlight's fans speak up even louder, and their anger will increase. But don't worry, I have a plan." Meanwhile, Firecracker gathers journalists around her and speaks about Starlight, viciously attacking her. Firecracker announces, "Starlight is hiding children in Starlight House, and they're being abused in the basement." One person believes her words and heads to Starlight House yelling, "I will burn down this place where you mistreat those children." Then he points his gun at one of the center's workers, but Frenchie intervenes quickly and disarms him. Later, Joe meets with Butcher and gives him a dose of of a specific drug, saying, "This drug can easily knock Ryan unconscious. Find a way to administer it to him, then hand him over to Grace, who's preparing a secure location that no supe can escape from." At Vought, Homelander holds a meeting for the Seven and tells Ashley, "Sage will be taking your place from now on. She will be the company's CEO, but you will remain as the face of the company as if you are still the CEO." Ashley is shocked by the decision and cannot object, as Homelander has the final say. Afterward, Sage informs the team that someone has infiltrated the company's crime department and stolen evidence, proving the innocence of the two individuals suspected of the triple homicide. He then gave this evidence to Starlight, leading to their release. A-Train is terrified of being exposed, but Homelander and Sage accuse the Deep of being responsible for the company's crime department. The Deep fearfully stammers, "I didn't do it." Sage tells him, "Well, we will find out who did." Meanwhile, Ryan is playing a superhero game on his PlayStation, engaging in a match with other players online. Butcher manages to join the same match and talks to Ryan through the game. "I want to meet you," Butcher tells Ryan. Ryan was about to end the call, as Homelander ordered him not to talk to Butcher. But Butcher pleads, "Just give me 1 minute. I'm dying in 6 months and I want to see you before I die." Touched by his words, Ryan agrees to meet Butcher. Butcher prepares some food for himself and Ryan, spiking the food with the drug Joe gave him. When Ryan arrives, Butcher offers him some cake. "I made it just the way Becca used to," Butcher tells him. However, Ryan refuses to eat the cake. Butcher doesn't push him and leaves him be. The truth is, Butcher wasn't convinced about drugging Ryan. He wanted to try persuading him to go with him, away from Homelander. Butcher starts playing the game with Ryan, and they have a good time together. Butcher gets him talking about what's on his mind. Ryan feels sad and upset that he accidentally killed an innocent person. "Homelander told me not to care about the death of others," Ryan confesses to Butcher. "I now understand why you told me you never wanted to see me again. If I were you, I wouldn't want to see me either." Butcher apologizes for his previous words, saying, "Sometimes I say things I don't mean. I'm going to die soon, and nobody in this world loves me. My brother is dead, Becca is dead, and since you're Becca's son, I want to make things right with you." After saying that, Butcher throws the drugged cake in the trash and resumes playing with Ryan. On the other hand, Homelander and Sage summon an employee from the crime department, Tiffany. Sage confronts her, stating, "We've learned that you contacted Starlight a few days ago. We need to know if this is true or not." Terrified of Homelander, Tiffany is reassured by him, swearing on his son's life that he won't hurt her. Tiffany confesses, "Yes, I contacted Starlight a few days ago." As she is about to reveal the content of her conversation with Starlight, Homelander instantly kills her. Sage is not pleased with Homelander's actions, saying, "We should have listened to her first. I'm sorry. I acted impulsively," Homelander apologizes. "She admitted to contacting Starlight. Therefore, she's the one who leaked the evidence." Ashley breaks down, crying over Tiffany's death. Later, Firecracker spreads fake news, claiming that Starlight broke into her house. Starlight confronts her, asking, "What have I done to you for you to attack me like this?" Firecracker narrates a story from their past. "You might not remember me. We were young. We were both participating in a singing competition when we were 13 years old. We reached the semi-finals and faced each other. Suddenly, the audience started making fun of me. It turns out you told them that I slept with all the judges. You did that to get ahead of me and reach the finals." Starlight remembers the incident and feels ashamed of herself. "I was just a kid, and my mother made me do it," Starlight confesses. We then cut back to Butcher and Ryan. After their video game session, Butcher experiences strange pains in his back, collapsing unconscious. While out, he envisions Becca, who encourages him to get up and finish his mission. At the hospital, Huey receives devastating news from the doctor. His father has 2 days left to live. Distraught, he leaves with Kimiko to meet A-Train, requesting a dose of the original Compound V. Huey reveals he's not taking it himself, but plans to give it to someone else. A-Train hesitates, revealing that Homelander keeps all the doses at his heavily guarded house. Huey reminds A-Train that he owes him for Robin's death, pushing him to help and make things right. "Who are you giving it to?" A-Train asks. Huey responds, "My dad's dying. I want to give him the V so he can pull through." Suddenly, they are attacked by unknown assailants. Huey sees an opportunity for A-Train to redeem himself. "If I get you the V, will you forgive me?" A-Train asks. Huey simply says yes. A-Train considers the proposition before fleeing the scene. Just then, shots ring out, injuring Huey in the leg. Kimiko pulls him into hiding as they try to figure out who's attacking them. "It's the gang who took me when I was little," Kimiko reveals. "They're back for revenge." They grab weapons and face the gang. Kimiko easily takes down most of them, but she's severely wounded by a young woman with an advanced weapon. Huey, witnessing Kimiko's injury, is overcome with shock. He engages one of the gang members in a brutal fight, barely escaping death before finally killing the man. Later, he finds Kimiko being treated by the same woman who attacked her, a woman named Clara. She reveals that she was forced to join the gang after Kimiko delivered her to them years ago, bearing a facial scar as a reminder of that encounter. Kimiko, filled with remorse, leaves with Huey. Meanwhile, Starlight meets with Singer, who is disappointed that she hasn't found a way to kill Victoria. She proposes an alternative, mobilizing her supporters for nationwide protests, urging Congress to pass the Superhuman Regulation Bill, a set of laws drafted by Singer to remove supes from positions of power. Upon returning to Starlight House, Starlight learns that Firecracker is holding a press conference right outside. Sage, employing a powerful team for online campaigns, is successfully generating buzz around Firecracker. She has also fed her incriminating information about Starlight to be revealed at the conference. The boys, reunited with Butcher, gather at Starlight House. When Butcher asks about the source of Firecracker's animosity, Starlight lies, hiding her past transgression. Butcher and Mother's Milk set off to handle the situation, taking down a guard stationed at the press conference. Feeling his mortality, Butcher makes Mother's Milk promise to get Ryan away from Homelander and raise him if he doesn't survive. Later, Butcher confronts Firecracker, who is fuming over Splinter's death. He stops her attack and reveals a damning video of her doing drugs. He offers her a deal: reveal Sage's entire plan and cease attacking Starlight, or the video goes public. But Firecracker, unfazed, releases the video herself and walks away. At her conference, she admitted that she had made mistakes, just like anyone else, and committed a significant sin. However, she later repented and never repeated the mistake. She said that God put this young man in her path so she could become a better person and not make that mistake again. But Starlight, on the other hand, let me tell you a story about Starlight when she was 13 years old. Once, armed men broke into a supermarket and took some hostages. Starlight broke into the supermarket and fought the gang, but what no one knows is that Starlight, due to her power, caused one of the hostages to go blind. Starlight was aware of this and didn't care. All that mattered to her was that the cameras were recording her fighting crime. She left the scene with complete indifference. So, Starlight is not the hero you think she is. She is a very evil person. Butcher and Mother's Milk arrived too late to intervene in the press conference, but managed to swipe the keys to Firecracker's truck. Meanwhile, Homelander's rampage through his childhood laboratory continues. He confronts the doctors who subjected him to horrific experiments, driven by a need for acknowledgement and twisted sense of justice. He forces one doctor into an industrial oven and humiliates another, ultimately killing him with his laser vision. Only Dr. Bragg, the lab director who raised him, manages to get through to him, pulling him into a private conversation. Meanwhile, Frenchie, infiltrating Firecracker's truck, discovers medical records of Starlight's abortion. Firecracker broadcasts this information, accusing Starlight of hypocrisy and further solidifying public distrust of supes. Enraged, Starlight attacks Firecracker as she finishes her speech. Butcher arrives in time to witness a supe named Ezekiel attacking Frenchie. He fights Ezekiel, seemingly killed in the process, but suddenly revives, unleashing a terrifying surge of power that obliterates Ezekiel's body. Starlight's brutal attack on Firecracker is caught on camera, quickly going viral and fueling the anti-supe sentiment. As they flee, MM notices Ezekiel's blood and questions Butcher's new power, but they leave before getting answers. Dr. Bragg confronts Homelander in his former cell, reminding him of his deep-seated need for love and how his powers manifested from the moment he was born. She reveals that Vought brought in experts to study and manipulate his desire for affection, making him compliant. Homelander, shaken by these revelations, desperately clings to the belief that he and Ryan are above such human needs. Seeking temporary respite from her ever-racing mind, Sage convinces a hesitant Deep to use a metal rod to temporarily disable disable her cognitive functions. Back at the headquarters, Starlight, racked with guilt over her violent outburst and the public revelation of her abortion, receives a call from a furious Singer. He severs ties, blaming her for jeopardizing the Superhuman Regulation Bill, which he now believes will be dubbed the Starlight Regulation Bill due to its impending failure. Huey obtains the Compound V from A-Train, who leaves with their past grievances seemingly settled. Butcher witnesses the exchange, and Huey confesses his intention to give it to his dying father. He even offers Butcher half, a chance at life that Butcher sadly refuses, revealing he stole and injected himself with the remaining V months ago, only to have it accelerate his condition. At the hospital, a conflicted Huey nearly administers the V to his father, but ultimately stops himself. However, when he leaves momentarily, his mother, a Vought employee, seemingly injects the V into her husband's IV. Huey returns to find his father miraculously cured. The episode concludes with a blood-soaked Homelander standing victorious over the slain doctors, having seemingly killed them all except Dr. Bragg, who remains trapped within the cell. The fourth episode ends leaving the audience wanting more. Will Butcher be able to control his new powers? What will become of Starlight? And what is Homelander's next move? Stay tuned for the next recap of The Boys, where we'll delve into the fallout of these shocking events. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. See you in the next one.